We were all born, we're all going to croak, we're all going to pay taxes. Just how it is. So we'll talk about taxes. Yeah. That'll be the other day. So, this is not hard, I just need your guys' input. So, I have 10 calculators. If you have a calculator, cool, get it out. If you don't have a calculator, do you have one of these yet? You do have one? No. Turn it on. You have one? Turn it on. You got one? You got one? You got one? You have one of those? You have one of those? Turn it on. You have one of those? Turn it on. You have one of those?
Thank you.
There's one cool. You got one there. Got one there.
I like that.
Oh, it's okay. I've been like you before. Come on, you got one. You got one of those? You got one of those?
I do.
Sweet. All right. So don't worry, the math that you're gonna have to do on these calculators isn't hard. I just want to, because I have to go back and forth screens, and I don't want to have to jump on a calculator as well. So, my friends, as I said, 3 main constants in life. We were all born. We're all going to pass away. I'm sorry to fill you in on bad news. But the third thing is the worst news of all. We are all going to pay taxes. Okay? Now, so, I don't know if you know this, but all of you, regardless of filing for taxes or not, have paid tax in some way, shape, or form. You've gone to a store, you've paid a tax. You have gone to a restaurant, you paid a tax. You got one of those by chance? Sweet. You have, so everything out there. Now, I don't know if you realize, so the federal government put something in place called the standard deduction. So what they basically do for a standard deduction is the actuarial scientists have all gotten together and they want people just to fill out the easy tax form because it's less for them to look at. Now, in reality, if you took all of your receipts from the entire year and had on your receipts the taxes you have paid, theoretically, you should lower your taxable income because you've already paid a tax. Okay? Now, what the standard deduction is, the actuarial scientists figured, everyone, I don't know, let's just shoot for fun. Let's see what the standard deduction is. Standard deduction for 2024, because we just got done with last year. All right. Whoops. Come on. It showed it and then it went away. All right. So it looks like the standard deduction for a single person is $14,600. Okay? Meaning, if you made $114,600, you're only paying tax on $100,000. Does that make sense? If you feel that's a little low because you purchased a car, you purchased a house, you have a mortgage, you have tax sheltered investments, you have all of these different things. If you feel that, and then you've kept all your receipts all year in a shoebox, and so every time you go someplace, you make sure you get the receipt. So if you go and add up all of those things, if you think that you've spent more than $14,600, you then don't do the easy form. You fill out the itemized tax form, and basically you keep those receipts for anywhere from 5 to 7 years in hopes that the IRS doesn't decide to audit you. Because the IRS does indeed audit you. First off, they're not going to audit you on taking the standard deduction. Okay? Federal government thinks that we are too dumb, too lazy, have too many things that we're preoccupied by to ever add up all of our taxes and all of our receipts and itemize what we're going to do as far as our taxes. Now, with that known, so first off, does that make sense that you would lower your taxable income? So if we had $14,600, and I'm just doing it based on the individual, I'm not worried about. So this is called your standard deduction. Now, this does not mean that there aren't things that you could already put in once you take the standard deduction. There are other lines that if you do have certain investments or you certain mortgages and stuff like that, you could still offset that price a little bit. Yeah. No. What theoretically, that's what the federal government thinks, that every individual, not married, just individual, filing independently or as a single person, they feel that everyone has paid about that much money, give or take. Okay, some people, like you've paid taxes you've paid taxes. Bought your energy drink, you paid 43 cents in taxes. You bought gasoline. Okay, you filled up your car, there's tax on your gasoline. You've paid taxes on this. They feel this is a good number to go. Now, in reality, most people, if you're making 100,000 plus a year, which could be most of you in a couple of years, you will more than likely pay more than that in taxes, which in theory means you shouldn't take the standard deduction, but the standard deduction makes it easy. Because if you were to go through all of your receipts, you remember that one receipt that went through the wash and you're sitting there trying to, yeah, that's tax. So we could add that into our, take it off of this.
So what does that mean?
Huh?
What is that?
Well, what this means is this. So let's say I made $100,000. That was how much my pay was. Okay? So basically the federal government, you all have a calculator, 100,000 minus $14,600. $85,400. Cool. Look at that dude without a calculator. Helps to have a degree in math sometimes. All right. So this means the federal government feels that they will tax you at the federal level on $85,400.
I owe them $85,000.
Nope. They're going to tax you. You have to pay taxes to the federal government.
Yeah, so I owe them $85,000.
No. So this is what it means. Ready? So let's keep a running total on this board. So let's base it off the $100,000. Okay, we made $100,000. The government says you made $85,400, and that's what they want to tax you on. Meaning, they already feel that you have purchased enough things throughout the entire year that you've already had money go to the federal government, and we've had money taken out of your paycheck in taxes, that they feel $14,600 is a good, people are happy about it. They see that, people can't do math, therefore they're just going to say, we're going to do this, that's all we're going to do. And my grandfather was an auditor for the IRS many years ago, and his belief was you don't want to pay the government 1 penny more than what you owe them. Yeah.
If you work federal, does that mean you pay taxes too?
Huh?
If you like work federal, does that mean you pay taxes too?
Did you work for the federal government?
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone pays taxes. So
Who gets all this money? What's this money?
this goes to the federal government.
But
This pays for our military, this pays for the government, this pays for our interstates, this pays for our national parks, this pays for TSA securities at the airport, this pays for all of the things that we take for granted, saying, hey, this worked out well. Now, other organizations take care of like snow removal. That would be Colorado, the city we live in. Those taxes go through the city. Those would also take care of paying for that. So governments are going to collect taxes in order to provide services, basic services, for us just to say, yeah, I can drive down the road. For the most part, I could miss most of the potholes that are on the road because there's not as many as someplace else that doesn't have a good tax structure. Yeah.
I think there's like benefits from this stuff to make it.
There are benefits to work for the federal government. Get a paycheck, pension, yeah. Pension would be you're putting a certain amount in and they're going to pay your retirement after a certain amount of years. So like I get a pension as a teacher. So when I retire from teaching in this district, I will get 70% of my highest paid years for the rest of my life. And it will grow each year by the cost of living anywhere from 2 to 5%. It'll increase each year. So I'll get a paycheck for the rest of my life because I was a teacher. Even though like 5 years from now, I will probably not be a teacher. I will probably be riding a bike or something. Or maybe I'll keep working. I don't know. Who knows? So I'll have too much fun. So $85,400 is what the federal government is going to say. We're going to tax you based on $85,400. Now let's see how this $85,400 plays in. So we have that up on the board, right? All right. So if I come here, if an individual makes, we're only expected to be taxed on $85,400. So we have to figure out where do we fall on this table. $85,400 falls in the 22nd percent tax bracket. Now, unfortunately, we've all probably heard some news report that some particular political figure or someone who is being elected, I don't care who it is, I'm not pointing any fingers, but the media says that they're going to cheat on their taxes. They didn't pay their fair share in taxes, which might be true or it might not. Now I'm going to tell you that I'm going to show you the person who made $100,000 a year less $85,400, okay, that they actually, according to the media, will look like they have cheated on their taxes. You guys with me? Or are you guys playing spank and tickle? Okay. Let me show you how this works. So, in theory, do me a favor, would you please? Would you, on your calculator, go 0.22 times $85,400. 0.22 times $85,400. How much?
18,788.
Okay, so of your $100,000 you met, minus your standard deduction, okay, again, that's what the federal government said. This is about how much people would have paid us in taxes. So the federal government is now going to say you are going to be taxed on your $85,400 because I subtracted the $16,000 or $15,600 standard deduction that we found.
Yep.
Okay. But the government also feels that on your $85,400, you should have paid, according to, if we just did this wrong, $18,788 in taxes. Okay? Now I'm going to tell you, this is what they feel, this is what the media is going to pervert you to think that, oh, this person's cheating on taxes. I'm going to tell you right now, everyone in this room, your families who have filed federal taxes, me who has filed federal taxes, my dad files federal taxes. My mom unfortunately doesn't pay taxes anymore because she has one of the great main things we have. She was born and she died, but she paid taxes in between. Okay? So the thing is, I'm not going to pay 22% of $85,400. So what that federal table says, so the first $11,600 I make, so from 0 to $11,600, I need to get up to that amount. I'm not there yet. I'm going to pay at 10%. So that's 11,600 times 0.10, which means 1160. So on the first $11,600 that I have made of my $85,400, that's offset of my $100,000 that I actually made, I'm going to have to pay $1,160. Now I'm going to try and see how close I can get to that $18,788 that the federal government says, or the media says that I should have paid taxes. And I'm going to show you how we actually cheated it, because we didn't really cheat it. We just followed the taxable income rate based on this gradual table. Now I need your help. On your calculator, I need you to subtract two numbers for me. Ready? I need you to subtract $47,150, so 47150, 47150. You got that? Minus 11,601, 11601. So 47150 minus 11601. 35,000 what? 35,549. Okay, so on this, that's the difference. I subtracted these two numbers from each other, so I'm going to have to pay 12% on that. So you take that $35,549 and multiply it by 0.12. 35549 times 0.12 is $4,265.88. 4,000 what? $265.88. Cool. Okay. All right. Now we fell into this 22% tax bracket. Okay, so I need you to subtract this for me. Oh, we don't need to go all the way up to 100,525. What number do I have to go up to? Yeah, that 85. So 85,400 on your calculator minus 47,151. $85,400 minus 47,151.
38,249.
What do you got? 38,249 times, that came in at the 22nd percent. So I multiply that times 0.22.
8,004.
How much? 78 cents. Cool. So the amount I owe in taxes is this plus this plus this. So 1160 plus 4265.88 plus 8414.78. How much that come to? How much? Oh, you threw that one in. Oh, okay. So it's this, the yellow. 1160 Sorry. We have a number?
Yeah, $13,840.66.
I heard 13,000 what?
$840.66.
All right. So here is the thing. In your taxable income, you made $100,000. Congratulations, you made 6 figures. Federal government says we are going to reduce your taxable income because we're going to do a standard deduction of $14,600. Okay, which means you're going to pay taxes on $84,400, and on our gradual taxable income. So let's get rid of our fun stuff. So that means that 13,840.66 divided by 18,788. And I'm going to go 1 minus 0.73667. So that means that I have paid, of my money, after my standard deduction came out, I paid 26.3% of my taxes. 26.3 of what I made after the standard deduction was paid in taxes. So 26.3 I said, right? 26.3? So we're off a little bit here. Okay? Where it actually came out to is if we did our taxes wrong, this is based on 100,000 that we actually made less our standard deduction, but we made a mistake someplace because I shouldn't have come up to that amount. Maybe I did make a mistake here someplace. Oh, I got you. Never mind. I see where my mistake is. I put the wrong stuff in. 13,840.66 divided by the $100,000 that I made. It appears I only paid 18.4% of my taxes.
18,000.
Huh?
You put 18,000.
Oh, thank you. See, I'm already cheating on taxes. So it looks like I only paid 13.4%. Oh, 840. Thank you. I'm messing up like crazy. There we go. So 13.8%. My numbers right now. So it appears that I paid 13.8% in taxes. 13.8% in taxes. Where the news media is going to pervert this. 13.8% is what I actually paid in taxes based on what I made, 100,000. They're going to say they should have paid 22% in taxes. No, I shouldn't have paid 22% in taxes because I had on my standard deduction, because the federal government realized I bought things throughout the year. So they're saying our taxable income is actually less than $100,000 because I paid taxes already. So what I make on top of that, so if you technically take the money that you made, how much are you really worth? Well, you add your 100,000. That's a million. 100,000 minus your $13,840.66. So basically, my friends, not including state government or state taxes and city taxes, which exist as well, that means your $100,000, according to the federal government, you actually in your pocket had $86,159.34, which the taxable table, how it works, it's a gradual table. Okay? So let's go to the big money making people. Is Jeff Bezos still single?
Yeah.
Still single? Guy's making over $1 billion a year. Isn't he?
I watched it.
He's making over $1 billion a year, right? So basically, once you made as a single $609,351 or more, so you take Bezos' $1 billion he made, go $1 billion minus the standard deduction, the 14,600, subtract 609,351, and then you subtract all these and multiply by the percent. That's how much he should have paid taxes. Now, somebody asked, how do I not pay taxes? Well, anybody can get away with trying not to pay taxes. The IRS is going to catch up with you. Now, the uber rich people know there's places that they can hide their money. Now, that standard deduction that was in place, I said there's other places that we could make that standard deduction lower our taxable income. Okay? So even if we took that standard deduction as a single of $14,600, that was what we found. Okay? You can lower your taxable income still without going through every one of your receipts. Okay? Did you contribute to your church or charity? Or church and charity, which some people might do. That lowers your taxable income as well. Okay? That's why at the end of the year, a lot of people will make a gift contribution to a charity or their church or both, because they know they have a max that they can actually offset that by, and they had extra money, so then the federal government's even going to get less money, and that's totally legal to do. Those are items on your tax form. So if I pull up on another tab, tax forms for 2024, instructions and publications, irs.gov. Your rights as a taxpayer. Nope, just give me my form. My refunds, no file. Let's see, find my form.
I forgot my books.
Oh. There we go, forms. See ya. Let's take a look at this PDF. Okay, this is our wonderful tax form. Okay, this is for 2024, last year. What, if you made money and you paid taxes, you will have to fill out this form. Now, there's a certain time, if you're a minor and you're under your parents' thing, you don't necessarily have to worry about this when things take place. All right, so nice thing is this is you can type in your stuff, your first, middle initial, your last name, spouse's middle name if you're filing with spouse, your home address, city, town, state, zip, foreign country name, foreign province, state, country, foreign postal code, all those kind of things. Are you filing single? Things like that. As you go through this particular form, let's get to where some of the deductions are going to sit and take place. So I'm wondering if this changes if I can go single. This is how you go through your entire tax form. All right, so line by line. Okay, you're going to be sent to W-2. Your W-2 will say all W-2s are going to be the same. It's just different, whatever company you work for, and their address, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll say total from form W-2 box 1. You look for box 1, you put that number value in there. Yeah.
Is it smart if you pay your taxes and your parents? That's smart, right?
Well,
you are more than likely maybe still dependent on your parents, so they probably pay it. If you made a certain amount of money, you still have to file, but you file under your parents, which is a lower taxable income than that tax table we're looking at.
But we shouldn't be paying, like, I shouldn't be paying my taxes as well as they.
Theoretically, yes, but then a lot of times, if you didn't make a certain amount of money because you're dependent on your parents, you are in the exempt, which means you get everything back that the federal government would have taken out. Okay, so you get a refund. All right, so form there. Let's expand this so we can see it a little bit better. All right, household wages not reported, and we're gonna put 0. And tips, any incomes there on tips? Let's say we didn't get any tips, we weren't doing any of that. And then somewhere on your thing, you have some sort of Medicaid tax waiver payments not reported. Well, we're gonna say 0 there. Taxable dependent care. Like, we're just going to go simple, but these are things. Employee.
But so if you're a waiter, you get tips, you have to put down how much you got.
Yeah, basically, it's like you do 15% of what your sales would have been.
So like.
And your employer would have reported that because you would have reported each time you've got tips, you're writing down, and they have that as your thing. That's why if you ever get a cash tip, the cash tip is the best type of tip to get. You put it in your pocket and you say, oh no, they didn't give me $20, they only gave me $2. Now, when it's on the credit card and getting on a tip, you're stuck. Can't fudge that much. And then wages. Yeah, every country has some sort of taxable thing. Wages from Form 89, line 6, I'm going to just say 0. Other income, and then let's see, IRA distributions, pensions and utilal, Social Security benefits. We're not in any of those for right now. Additional items. So subtract line 10 from line 9. We're not there yet. Standard deduction, itemized deduction, Schedule A. We said $14,600. Qualified income, add lines 12 and 13. So we're going to say 14,600. Subtract line 14 from line 7 of 0. Enter 0 as your taxable income. So line 14 from 11, we're not going to do that. And then, all right, now we're getting to the good stuff.
So why doesn't you go to college with free taxes?
If you're working, yes. Yeah, they figured out all these different ways to get you. All right, child tax credit. The nice thing is if you have children, you get a certain standard deduction for children. So you put that in line 19. And keep going, and as you walk through this,
So if you have more kids, you have less money to pay.
more kids, the more dependents you get. Let's say each kid's worth $2,000. If you had 5 kids, you get the lower 10,000. Yeah. Okay. No. Kids cost a lot though. Kids cost you roughly $100,000 per kid per year to raise, or in their lifetime raise. Top ramen. It's like eat them noodles. All right. So, okay, so this lines 27, 28, 29, we're talking about where we would be doing contributions to churches or other things. Basically, what it's going to come down to, if you were on an actual working form, the working form would basically tell you, you paid this much in taxes, this is how much you said you should have paid in taxes. If it's positive, that means you get a refund back from the government. If it's negative, that means you owe the federal government that difference that you mail with the thing. Now, my wife and I, for the past 25 years, we like to owe the federal government every year. And this is why. I owed the government that money. They're going to get it. I often like to have around $6,000 or $7,000 I owe the federal government. And this is why.
Every year.
Every year. I would have paid it anyhow. Like when I'll hear people saying, "Oh my gosh, I got a $12,000 tax return." I like look at them going, "You're an idiot because the federal government held your money, that $12,000, and they profited off of you because you paid too much to them, and then they sent the money back." Now, on an individual, that's great, and it's not that much money. If you take every individual throughout the entire United States, you're talking about billions of dollars that the federal government got to hold on to, and you didn't get any benefits. I would prefer to say, you know what, I'm going to owe $7,000 a year. I'm going to have an account that I'm going to set up that I'm going to earn 4% interest on this money in a CD type of account. 4 or 5% with CDs are at these days. Might be a little more. I haven't checked it, recently. But what I'll do is I'll put that $7,000 into account. It'll sit there all year. It'll earn interest. And the government just gave me a 0% loan for $7,000, and I made interest on it. And then I give them back the $7,000 they loaned me, and I made interest on it. I made money on their money. But it's hard to fathom that. My dad's always so proud. "Oh man, I'm getting $8,000 back." You idiot. Why? I'm getting money back. No, I'm paying that money. Oh, why would you want to pay money? Because you gave the government a 0% loan of your money, just hold on to your money, and the government gave me a 0% loan on my money, and I made interest on my money. So I actually wound up paying less in taxes because I used the federal government's money that I owed them all year that I have to pay, February or April 15th. Okay. And then if you apply for extension, you can actually say, "Oh, I can push out my taxes for 4, 5, 6 months," and you still make that money, and it's bringing more interest each month, each day, each hour. And then you pay them the same amount that you would have owed them, but you still, there's just all kinds of ways of manipulating the system. So is there a way to not pay taxes? You're going to have to owe them. They're eventually going to catch up with you. And I will tell you, the IRS and the federal government, they don't play nice when you owe money. They start seizing your money and your assets. And you don't like that. That's not good stuff. Okay? If you go live out in some remote community on the land and you are a day laborer and you just take cash each day, federal government's going to have a hard time picking you up, but they realize that you pay taxes on stuff that you purchased anyhow. So theoretically, all the people who are getting cash on the dollar, or cash for the hour without paying taxes, they have already paid taxes because they are buying things. Yeah.
So what happens when you're moving to a different country and you have all this money? How do you just take the money with you?
Routing numbers from your bank. You can transfer bank to bank, no problem. If now here's a beautiful thing. Let's say you want to go to a different country, but you're keeping your U.S. citizenship. If you work in that country for 2 years, you don't pay taxes on your money in that country, nor do you pay taxes on that in the United States where you're a citizen. So theoretically, if you moved every 2 years, country to country to country, you can get away with never paying taxes, except for the stuff that you've purchased and they've already had pre-put in taxes on that you bought. So, kind of a goofy way to think about it.
What if the country does not have banks?
They do. Every country will have something. There's some sort of currency system in any country you go to.
No, credit card banks. What do you do? How do you take all the money?
You could easily just get money wired to you through your financial institution back here.
But how do you get the cash out?
Basically they would send you a cashier's check and you go to a bank of wherever that country is and they would give you the currency. They would have to do the exchange rate of what the U.S. dollar is worth to what their country, and they would give you their country's money. Or you could go to the exchange situation that are at most train stations and airports. Unfortunately, they take up to 8 or 9% to do the exchange rate for you.
Dude, I'm gonna be a millionaire.
Yes, you are. So that's kind of taxes for it.